Thank you so much, and please allow me to introduce our next session for today. It's a fireside chat under the title of the UAE Regulatory Framework Towards Promoting the Growth of SMEs. So growth of the SME sector in the UAE mostly will depend on its regulatory framework. For international entrepreneurs, landscape regulation has come down significantly as it did with the Commercial Companies Law and the more recent amendments to the UAE Foreign Direct Investment Law. Furthermore, the law of Dubai SME free zones and incubators provide a raft of incentives in the form of tax breaks, making business setup and development more feasible for SMEs. With the national agenda for entrepreneurship and SMEs, the UAE has even further strengthened its economic standing and announced an ambitious plan to establish the country as a global entrepreneurial leader by 2031. For this session, Fireside Chat, please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the stage our interviewer, Ms. Nala Olyenkova. She is the Senior Manager of International Ventures from the private office of Sheikh Saeed Al Maktoum. Welcome, Nala. Nala is going to interview Mr. Ahmed Al Raisi, the founder and CEO of Al Raisi Advocates, Board of Director, EEA. Welcome to the stage. And we have Mr. Anas Zainuddin, the founder of Innova MENA. Welcome to the stage. Nala, over to you.
Good day to everyone. Hello. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and panelists, welcome to the Fireside Chat on the UAE regulatory framework towards promoting the growth of the SMEs. My name is Nala Olyenkova, and I'm representing the private office of His Royal Highness Sheikh Saeed bin Ahmed Al Maktoum. And let me now introduce our exceptional speakers. Mr. Ahmed Al Raisi, the board member of Emirates Entrepreneurship Association, and Mr. Anas Zainuddin, the founder of Innova MENA. So, in general, small and medium enterprises are the backbone of the UAE economy, contributing over 60% of non-oil GDP and employing more than 60% of private sector workforce. Of course, in the center of this success are the government initiatives, such as the National SME Program under the Ministry of Economy. And additionally, for example, the Emirates Development Bank has pledged substantial financing to support SMEs, aligning with the operational 300 billion industrial strategy. So today, with our speakers, we would like to explore how these frameworks translate into real-world business. Mr. Ahmed, as I just mentioned, the SMEs contribute to over 60% of GDP. Given your extensive experience in the Entrepreneurship Association, what specific legal regimes or legal reforms have been most impactful and successful in enabling this growth?
Thank you very much. As maybe some of you are aware that the United Arab Emirates always adopting the latest legislations to move with the new technologies and the advanced economic forms. For the SMEs, I think the federal law for 2024 on the SMEs is the platform for the most SMEs who want to start business in the UAE. And later on, they also issued the executive regulation. This federal law is very helpful for the SMEs and the entrepreneurs who are seeking how to start the businesses in the UAE. So I think this is one of the best legislations. I know that it's requires some changes, some amendments, because it's been a little bit long of time. And we spoke to the authorities that we need to also add some changes and amendments. But in the end, it's a good platform. And I suggest that if someone he is not aware about this legislation, it's on the website of the Ministry of Economy, federal law, and I'm not sure about the number, but it's 2014 on the SMEs. It's a federal law, so it's applicable for all the 7 Emirates. And I think this is one of the good legislations which helped a lot the SMEs in UAE.
Thank you, Ahmed. And from your perspective, what are the most common, maybe legal challenges which SMEs are facing in the UAE? How we could overcome them?
The challenges for the SMEs is not illegal only. It's the challenges is from various aspects and angles. However, from the legal perspective, and I think, my opinion, as I said, the federal law need to be modified, need to be added some changes to go in the line with the recent change which happened in the market, and I think there is also some local legislation in such like Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah. This local legislation maybe can fill the gap for the federal legislations. And I think from the legal perspective, in United Arab Emirates and generally, we are doing well in this line. We are moving very fast with adopting the latest legislation. Now, the ball in the field of the SMEs, how they can use this legislation to enhance their businesses.
Ahmed, I suppose many of our listeners for sure will agree, because the pace of development and legal development in the country, it's outstanding, I would say. Mr. Anas, the next question is to you. So maybe many of yours have heard that the UAE has been ranked first globally in the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report for the 4th consecutive year, surpassing many developed countries. So Anas, what factors do you think attribute to this consistent top ranking, and how can local SMEs leverage this entrepreneurial ecosystem?
So thank you for the question. And all of the accolades and the successes that we see today are based on the vision and the planning that took place many, many years ago. So first and foremost, due to the wisdom of the leadership in the country, there was always a vision that the UAE would one day become this pivotal country that is at the center of the entrepreneurship stage in the world, and that the UAE itself would become one of the top innovative countries in the world. And we're seeing the progress year after year. So all the legislations, the regulations, the planning and the vision that was put forth many, many years ago is what is being materialized today. That was the planning, and then this is the execution. And the key thing is the execution, because that involves updating the regulatory frameworks, the various economic and financial incentives that are provided to companies, SMEs, and startups, the attracting various investors and funding platforms, having the ease of business licensing and regulations, and being able to open a business today is a fact that is much, much easier than it was many, many years ago. So all of these things together on the execution side have manifested, and that's one of the reasons that we're seeing this. And then in addition, the UAE itself has also really invested in itself in terms of priming itself as the premier destination for SMEs, for startups, for companies. The UAE has primed itself for being a destination where whatever idea you want to materialize, there's nothing impossible. You can come here and make it happen. And this is really what has attracted a lot of startups and SMEs to come and to take a shot at it from the UAE. And this is why you see now the UAE being ranked #1 on the Global Entrepreneurship Index as a result of all of these steps that have taken place over the last number of years, and with the follow-through of direct governmental support and the incentives that were provided.
My next question will be to both speakers. So I just came back from my trip to Hong Kong and Singapore, and I would say that the digital ecosystems in these cities, they are really thriving. And in this case, I would say that global cities and countries like Hong Kong or Singapore, they're actively competing to attract these high growth SMEs. From your perspective, what is the UAE's unique value proposition beyond tax policies, and how can we continue to strengthen it? Mr. Ahmed.
Still, United Arab Emirates, I think, uh, leading the SMEs in the region. It's the best hub to open the business for the SMEs and the startups and the unicorn also who moved from Dubai. I don't want to name them, but there is 3 to 4 unicorns which have started from Dubai and now they are globally moving more than the others in the other countries. The legal system in the United Arab Emirates, I'm not just because I'm Emirati, but I'm saying as have been part of the legislation team who I used to review from time to time legislations on the federal or local authorities level, we have the best legal system in the region. I don't want to say in the Middle East, but I can say in the region for the time being, although we need to just improve this legislation. And competing with other countries, I think we still need to do further enhancement for the legal system. And on the other hand, I think it's not legal, it's a package. We have the legal system, we have the government support, and we have the location of the UAE also, and the logistic facilities, the simple how to make the business very fast and easy. So we have many tools. It's let us also be in the good position and doing the best in the market.
Thank you, Ahmed. Anas, what would you add?
So when it comes to comparing, the UAE, whether it's Dubai or Abu Dhabi to places like Singapore, London, and others, for instance, I think it's fair to say that a lot of these cities they started decades ahead of the UAE. But what the UAE managed to do in the last 10 years alone, it took other places, 30, 40, 50 years to accomplish. So what the UAE is doing now is extremely accelerating this. At the same time, one of the unique value propositions that the UAE has to offer is, number one, you have a very large resource and non-resource based economy that is growing year over year. You have a strategic geographic location with easy access of at least 400 million population just within the MENA region. You have India, you have all of Asia and close to Europe. So you have very strategic location. You have all the lessons learned that have been taken from places like Hong Kong, Singapore, and others are being applied here. And as part of the the governance and the frameworks that are being established, they are really being designed very, very well to make sure that the system does not fail and then that there's no cracks within. So that's the reason that we're seeing successes year over year. That's why we're seeing a lot of companies, a lot of businesses now being convinced that the UAE is the right place to invest. And this is not just for SMEs, by the way. We're seeing a lot of some of the largest investment companies in the world are actually coming and setting up their regional offices in the UAE for that specific reason. So this will, of course, directly and indirectly attract startups, attract SMEs, because the key thing that the UAE offers now is the confidence that you can do business here, the safety, the infrastructure, the quality of life. So when companies want to move here or relocate, they're not just looking at for a place of business. They're looking for a place where their families can live here, their children can go to school, they have access to proper education and healthcare, entertainment. And the UAE really is one of the rare places today that provides every single one of these boxes in one very unique location. So this is really the UAE's value proposition in terms of attracting more SMEs and startups to actually come and set up and establish and thrive in this ecosystem.
Anas, right now we had a very interesting discussion before coming to the panel regarding what the startup founders don't understand. International startup founders don't understand about the UAE market, and I'm sure today with us there are many founders or representatives of innovation hubs from all over the world. What would you recommend to them to understand about the UAE while they're coming to this country, they're expecting something, how the process looks like here in the UAE?
Yeah. So, there's two sides to this cone. The first is the branding and the marketing. So the UAE has an excellent brand, and there's excellent marketing that's done in the UAE. So everybody wants to come and set up in the UAE. But at the same time, there's a perception that any company that can come and set up here that there's business to be made instantly, there's money to be raised instantly, which is not necessarily the case. It's good for the UAE as an ecosystem as a whole, but not necessarily so for all the individual companies and the founders. And one of the things is, to be honest, from the companies that we advise and that we see, is there's a lack of research, and there's an extremely over-ambitious plan to come and set up. I mean, the advice to startups and SMEs is do your research in advance, visit the UAE, go to events like this and network, understand the regulatory framework, understand the markets. And when it comes to the markets, one of the other misconceptions that takes place is people look at the UAE as a captive market, that it's just the UAE market only, a population of 10 million, a country, in a particular geographic size. Other companies look at it as a springboard to the entire MENA region, that my market is not just a 10 million population, it's actually a 400 to 500 million population. And those are the ones that will thrive, because if you're coming to set up a business model for a very small population, it's not really going to work out unless you're in a very specific cluster that is being incentivized to do so.
I totally agree. Mr. Ahmed, what would you like to add?
I would like to say something maybe according to the legal system also in the United Arab Emirates. In United Arab Emirates, we have two legal systems, and this is serve the businesses here, and I think it's something unique. We have a civil law courts and a common law courts, which is the IFC and ADGM. So businesses here, they can choose from any legal system to adopt their businesses. Also, we have 3 to 4 arbitration centers. They are really doing good. And also in the meantime, as I mentioned earlier, that we are in the federal country. So we have federal legislations, federal government, we have local governments, local legislation, and this is also add value to the businesses. So you have several kind of systems can cope your needs. And it's really something we need to learn about United Arab Emirates from the legal system and from the local and federal also facilities and benefits that entrepreneur or businesses they can get.
I would say it's a huge advantage of the country that any international business is legally protected here in the UAE. Mr. Ahmed, the question to you, if we're talking about the instruments for attraction of the financial attractions, fundraising, what would you recommend to SMEs here in the UAE? How should they fundraise from governmental funds or from VC funds or maybe from associations, any financial support?
Okay, so still I think the fundraising is one of the key points. I think most of the businesses are, seeking how to find the solutions for that. For the local SMEs, I think there is Emirates Development Bank. They have some projects or some programs to support the SMEs of the local SMEs. And for the other SMEs, I think we have many of financial institutions. They are calling me, to be honest. They are looking how to support the business, and they are ready to fundraise. They have the system to support the SMEs. And I think we just need to ask the right persons about how to find the best fundraising system in the UAE. Consultants, experts can guide you, and you can approach the proper channels. But there is channels, and there is a platform, and I think in the IFC, also Dubai International Financial Center, there is many of programs about assisting the entrepreneurs or SMEs how to start their businesses. Just we need to ask the proper experts and consultants.
To finalize our discussion, maybe one brief advice both of you would give to an entrepreneur or a startup founder here in the UAE.
Yes.
So, I mean, right now I think we're living in a golden age here when it comes to innovation, entrepreneurship, and advice for startups and SMEs is, there's always market cycles, and the market cycle so far has been on an upward trend for the last little while, irrespective of the tariff situation that's happened a few days ago. But there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of incentives to really, really take advantage of them. One of the good things about the UAE is a lot of the good incentives are very well structured by institutions. So for example, like in Abu Dhabi, they will provide, the government will provide structured incentives in various clusters. For example, like agricultural technology, healthcare, and there's a lot of industrial opportunities. So when we talk about SMEs and startups, we're not always talking strictly technology. It's not just about AI and blockchain and so on. There's a lot of conventional type businesses that will thrive. You have a growing population, you have a growing real estate sector. All of this will directly and indirectly attract various businesses across the board. But the ones that will attract a very specific niche type of business are the ones that are structured through the economic clusters. So for example, there's a lot of industrial activity that is starting to take place in Abu Dhabi. There's very specific incentives, whether it's land, whether it's warehousing, whether it's financial, fundraising and so on. So these are things that SMEs should look into, and perhaps this may completely accelerate the journey that you're embarking on. And that's one of the success stories that we've seen with some of the local companies and startups that we've worked with, is had they not taken advantage of specific cluster-based incentives, they wouldn't have been able to make it. So there's a lot to take advantage of, and now is the time to continue doing it.
Thank you, Anas.
From my perspective, I think many SMEs and even large businesses, they need to move outside of UAE. They have to explore global markets. In United Arab Emirates, there is an initiative being adopted by the Ministry of Economy, and in particular, I advise the family businesses. It's also Dubai Chamber, as per my knowledge. They have an initiative also for the family business. Family businesses, SMEs, they need to learn more about the global market. There is many opportunities, and the government supporting them. Just they need to just approach the proper channels and seek how to just move out of UAE, find the new global markets, and there is government initiative supporting them. This will give them exposure to the new markets and opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you, dear panelists. Thank you, dear guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to invite the panelists and speakers to pose for a group picture, please.